You know, obviously our season over with, so I'm trying to bring them with us.
I'm not trying to rebuild. I'm trying to win right now.
Tailgate off and running. That's Paycor Stadium, where the Browns and Bengals will battle in the Battle of Ohio, round 2 today down in Cincinnati. And obviously there's a ball game to talk about, but the story of the week for the Cleveland Browns, not the game if you ask a lot of us, it's Myles Garrett and what he said Friday with the media. We're just going to have a few chunks of it here and let you guys react. Let's hear from number 95 and get into this before we get into the game.
First of all, I want to win. And I want the Browns to be able to put me and us in position to win. And I'm not trying to rebuild. I'm trying to win right now. And I want that to be apparent when the season's over and we have those discussions. I want them to be able to illuminate that for me, illustrate that for me, so that can be something that I can see in the near future. Because that's all we want to do.
All right, Reggie Langhorn, Josh Cribbs, you guys, that's part of what he had to say. What do you guys think here in that?
In a labored man's words, I need to see what you guys are going to do this offseason to get some players and what changes are going to be made, because I expected to win. We were just in the playoffs, and then we dropped to 3 losses. And if you guys haven't figured out exactly how you're going to get this done, then I might want to consider moving on somewhere else. And I don't blame the guy for that.
Not at all.
He has the right to.
Not at all. Who else would have the right, right? And is this a bad move where players are their own entities, right? This is a business decision, right? They'll treat him as a business decision. So he's treating the league and the Browns right now as a business decision. Can we see your plans? I mean, he's almost requiring a meeting with Andrew Berry and the staff to say, well, what is our plan? What is our outlook? Show me how it looks. And if the vision is clear, he's like, okay, that's the vision I want too.
In all the years that they've been back, I don't recall a player, and probably not a player of his magnitude, that has pretty much put them in question. So he's talking to Coach Stefanski, Andrew Berry, Paul DeBattista, the Haslam family, and also all that are involved in picking the players and making decisions for this organization. So he's saying something has to change, and he hasn't seen anything that makes him feel good or comfortable. And be honest with you, I don't know who they're going to get to play quarterback next year.
Well,
I mean, there's no one out there.
That's what he was talking specifically about, the quarterback, and the phrasing here is interesting to me. Check this out.
And we have to continue to take strides forward, not just as players, but from top down.
They have to show you that they have a sound plan going forward, that you want to know, like, what are we doing at quarterback and how are we going to get out there and contend again next season?
Absolutely. As uncertain as it is from the outside looking in, it's uncertain for us as well. So whether DTR is the solution or someone else is, it's got to be drawn out. There's got to be a plan of action, and just got to know where things are going.
He mentioned DTR. He did not say Watson, who is still under the big contract. What does that say, that he didn't mention number 4 at all?
I don't think it's DTR is a quarterback right now. They've named him the starter.
You're so nice.
Yeah, well, I think he's right now, he gets to say the quiet parts, because me and Reggie wouldn't have this conversation in public. But he gets to say these quiet parts out loud. And if I'm Andrew Berry, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, or Haslam for that matter, this is not a tough problem. This is just a meeting that you can have in front of your team, outlining what the plans are, getting a valuable quarterback that's viable, that's efficient, that's top. Whoever that may be, they can have this meeting in the draft room and say, these are the characters we have. Because one other guy who's up, I think, would be Kirk Cousins.
Right.
That's a landing spot for the Browns. But that's something that they can say, hey, we're looking at Kirk Cousins. We're trying to develop Deshaun. We're going to bring these guys in. And if that's the plan, go ahead and share that with your team. That shouldn't be a problem at all.
I agree. I sit here and I'm trying to figure out at this stage of a guy's career what his decision as far as leaving Cleveland. I mean, I'm so confused with what they're trying to do as a group. When you take a big swing like they took with Deshaun Watson, I mean, and everyone thought, all of us, thought that he would be a guy that was going to walk in here and play like he played in Houston. Things were going to be straight, and we're going to keep moving forward, and it didn't work. So now you hurt yourself financially. You didn't get to play from him. You lost draft picks. You don't have a quarterback next year. You're going to lose players. You just set us back 2.5, 3, 4 years, and now we don't even have a solution because there's really no one out there, and you might not have the money to get the guy that might be good enough to continue with what you're trying to do successfully here.
We talked about Myles Garrett's his play, right? How much he has left in the tank. This could be a dig, and I don't want to say it, this could be a dig at their notion that Deshaun Watson is the starter next year, right? Does he not believe, does he not believe that Deshaun is that guy? So maybe he's saying, what is the plan, guys? Let us know. Let me know so I can decide what to do with my career.
I'm not going to ever say that Deshaun Watson is not the guy to play football for another team in the NFL, but what happens with this system and Deshaun Watson does not work. That is a fact.
We are off and running here on the Tailgate. The Browns take on the Bengals today at 1 o'clock, and we're talking a lot about Myles Garrett. Here's our poll today. More yards, DTR passing, Jamar Chase receiving. Cleveland19.com/vote.
That isn't even fair. I mean, that's a quarter.
There's kicking coaches out there. I'm not a kicking coach, but I understand I would say the fundamentals and basics of kicking. So when we turn on the film, we can identify what things need to be corrected relative to his technique and his foot placement, etc.
Now, Bench Strength, sponsored by Wayside Furniture.
The bench strength this week. Hopkins coming off the bench from the week off, and he will resume as the kicker. Josh, I want to drill down on this with you because you've had plenty of experience with special teams coaches and meetings and things like that. He will be under fire because the kicker can't make kicks. Last week, I think it was last week, they had the fumble punt return. Special teams coaches, they can't really control whether the guy makes a kick or the guy makes a fumble. If you're routinely giving up big returns, fine, I can come after the coach. Other than that, what do they actually do? How much can they actually control?
So he can't control it, right? He can control his headspace of him actually saying, you know, trying to make him get help. Sports psychologists, they had that with the Browns. Offering and suggesting and making sure his timing is on point from the catch to kick. That all has to be on point. The timing, that has to be, you know, 0.5 on or off, you know, under, because it's a point where you can rush that. So is his timing good? They're probably doing all of that, and all of it's fine. It's just him when he's the contact of making the ball, of making it through the hoop. I said through the hoop, but making it through the field goal.
Yeah.
And that's something that, again, special teams coaches are really, you know, to blame. They give them that blame when the kicker messes up, when the punter messes up. But those aren't special teams. They have to worry about coverage. Is the coverage getting gashed? That's on the special teams coach. But when it comes to the kicker, they're not giving these kickers. They don't say, you know, they have a suggestion, but they don't sign these kickers. So it's up to Hopkins. I think only thing he can do, and this is what Baltimore did, they brought in specialists. A kick specialist, and they had him and they paid him to whereas they just work. That's their only job, working with, you know, the kickers and working with those guys. That's the only job they would do.
In all fairness to Bubba Vitrone, you can teach guys what they're supposed to do. You can teach guys about their lanes on kick coverage. You can teach guys about blocking to protect the punter, and you can get the line so no one jumps over and blocks it down. But at the end of the day, the guy has to be responsible for his job on special teams. But when you have a lot of things happening, and the missing kicks is one thing, but now you got guys fumbling the punt returns. You got guys running the kickoff team, running balls all the way back on them. That becomes excessive.
It does.
How about this, by the way, the dynamic kick? I guess it's working, right? Fewer touchbacks, 10%.
Well, this is the portion with that.
I don't understand.
We brought in Kadarius Toney, and I don't think it was Bubba's decision to bring him in. I don't think it was Bubba's decision that, hey, we got to put him back here. He could do it, and he didn't do it well. And how often do you see a guy come right away to a team and mess up, and it's the coach's fault, right? And they don't have a specialist, a consultant. It would be a guy like me to go there to, you know, to coach him up on putting that towel around his back and putting it on his arm so that he'll know he got to squeeze that ball in, ball first. I used to write ball security is job security. Like, are they doing these things necessary on a day-to-day basis, game-to-game basis that makes them consistent? That's not always the coach's fault.
Ball security, job security.
Yeah.
And that's why that guy went to the Pro Bowl a zillion times on the kick return.
I vote for him.
We are off and running here on the tailgate. By the way, the poll down here, Reggie is outlandish with this one. He can't believe this poll. Who's going to have more yards today? DTR passing, Jamar Chase receiving. Cleveland19.com/vote. We'll talk about it later on the program.
We have hope right now. I'll say that. It doesn't feel fake or real. That's what we feel like, hope.
Put me on him. I want all those targets that he's gonna get. So as many targets as he get, I'm gonna get those targets and just able to make plays on the ball and help the team as the best way as I can. So that's how I approach it.
The Injury Report, sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
All right, look at the injuries. That's not really the news here, but you got some of these guys, you know, Njoku, Tillman, Winston, Emerson, Brown, Cap. The Bengals have a few guys on this also.
Help me understand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tillman, this is his 4th week out, and his concussion. That's highly unusual to be out for a month. I mean, he was just starting
I think he
to
may
turn
play.
things around.
He may play because that's questionable.
Okay.
Doubtful and questionable are two different things.
Do you
I
ever
think he may
recall?
play.
Well, you were a little bit younger than me, but a concussion keeping someone out for a month. I don't
When
even,
you played, they didn't keep you out 5 minutes.
Right.
Again,
right.
it's nothing to those guys. Maybe I should have been
Right.
like that, and I would have played
Yeah.
a little longer.
Right.
But remember, I got knocked unconscious for 2 commercial breaks. I played the next week, and maybe I shouldn't have.
Maybe?
So
Maybe I
we
shouldn't
should
have.
just say tough Josh
No,
Graham.
I passed my impact test.
Okay.
I did the things necessary to get back on the field. That just was my 100% duty to just make sure I was, good enough to play on the field. But guys came to me, DeQuell Jackson, guys like that. It's like, man, you sure, man? Put the hand on my shoulder, like, man, you awesome, man. You could just take a week off. They was begging me. I'm like, no, man, my team needs me, man. What I look like taking off?
That's new football versus old football. There was no option. There was a game going, we're playing.
Yeah.
I get it now, though. I get it now. I absolutely understand.
But it's nothing against Tillman, right?
No, I'm
It's
not
nothing
saying that, but
against him.
4 weeks is a long time.
I think so.
How about this guy? So Jamar Chase going for the triple crown in receiving, receptions, touchdowns, and yards. He really, actually, the Browns have done a pretty good job with him. He had one big game against them a couple of years ago down in Cincinnati when their entire receiving core was hurt and Burrow just fed him. But the Browns do as well against him as anybody in the league.
So our defense will play good today based off of the production of offense. Can the offense move the ball down the field to keep our defense off the field enough? When the defense, because they will, force the Bengals to go 3 and out, will our offense move the ball down the field just enough to give the defense some rest and momentum before they have to hit the field again? If DTR and the offense hits a bunch of 3 and outs, that defense is going to falter. Ward will have to come out because then again, it's not a competition. We're wasting him. He'll end up coming out. Guys will start to come out, and you'll see that rotation quickly, and then it won't be a game, and Jamar Chase will hit all his yards, and he will have more passing yards than DTR combined if that happens. But it's all based off and dependent how well our offense plays for our defense to sustain.
And we've been fortunate here in Cleveland to have Myles Garrett playing on the defensive line and creating pressure for Barrow. He's always had great games. And on the other hand, Denzel Ward gets to shut down Jamar Chase. So let's hope that plays a big part today. But we cannot have the 3 and outs. I'm real curious to how DTR plays. I mean, it's kind of a big question game for me. If he goes out in the first half,
what?
and I just like this. Everyone thought he did so well in preseason. Everyone wants him to do well. I'd like to see him do well, but if he's not going to be a viable person as a quarterback, we need to move on from him also. That's just the reality of the business.
I think this is moving on. And it's unfortunate, it's hard to hear. I think this is letting other teams see if he can go to them. Is there anything that we need to see as a fan base from DTR that would give us? Are we really looking at DTR as a valuable option for 1? If it ain't quarterback 1, then
we're going to get into more DTR also actually straight ahead. The tailgate continues right after this. Cincinnati, the scene of the game today.
This is his, what do they call that?
Don't ever take for granted what it feels like to win the game. We build off this 2-game winning streak. We got to go get 3. Okay? Divisional game at home versus Cleveland. There's a lot of reasons we got to have our best week of the season going forward.
This is not an effort issue. It's not a want-to issue. It's a work issue. Okay? You guys work your ass off. Okay? We gave them 6 giveaways. We're trying to win, and we're making it hard.
Now the Pigskin Poll, sponsored by Hyundai.
Hard Knocks, catch it every week on Max. This was the Hyundai Pigskin Poll. I do this every week, put it on the news, ask you to go vote. You went and vote. This is a great question. Who's a better coach? Stefanski or Taylor? One is a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year. The other has been to a Super Bowl and has a 5-2 playoff record, much better than Stefanski.
I don't care what a title is. I like the playoffs. I like the guy to give me an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's nice to have titles, but if you get a chance to be in a Super Bowl, that means you get a ring. And ain't many ball players that played in the NFL got a ring.
So you're going with Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with Coach Stefanski because if I look at the two.
Figured you would.
Well, it's not, honestly, and this is not the bias. This is, I know a lot of people hate him as a coordinator, but if Stefanski had the Bengals team right now, I think we'd be in the playoffs.
That's a fair counterpoint. One is Joe Burrow.
I think we'd be in the playoffs. We went to the playoffs with less.
Right.
But if we had that team that they have, we wouldn't struggle as much as they're doing right now. I can
as I look at this organization, and then Coach Stefanski he's got those 2 titles, and yes, we've gone playoffs, then a losing season, then playoffs, then a losing season, and the consistency is just not there. My problem is also with Andrew Berry and the front office and those people that pick the players. They've done pretty good with players in trade, but then everybody knows they're already in the NFL. They know what they're capable of, but we have very little success. I can't name 3 or 4 players on that roster that they've drafted and have really been a big factor in winning football games.
Right.
And that bothers me because these are going to be the same people that are going to be picking people come April this year. Do they know what they're doing really?
Here's the poll. The winner, Taylor, 71-29. To me, this is because the Browns are having a bad year. If the Browns are having a better year, it would be Stefanski. We're going to see DTR today. And, again, what does Stefanski have to work with? You guys were talking during the break, and you made a good point. What do they actually think they're going to see out of DTR today that sways them, that say, oh, this might be a guy? Let me couch it to you this way. Could this be an opportunity for him to just show I can be your backup quarterback versus is he just playing for a roster spot, not a starting job?
I think he's playing for a roster spot. I think coaches out there want to see from him today command, poise, leadership. They don't want to see a problem. When problems happen, how do you respond? Because he has a way about him when he throws a pick and he feels like the game is messed up because of him. He has a certain panic that I've seen on him. Is he able to be poised and lead the offense, to lead the group of men when there's one score to go and he has to lead them down the field? How does his leadership work? Can he take what the defense give him and operate that offense effectively in control? Because that's who the quarterback is for your team, in control. And if he's going for a number 2 spot, hey, the offense can't miss a beat when you're in it. Can you operate? Can you lead? Can you command men? Can you be poised? That's who he has to be today. He has to just go out there and play. He has to be a gunslinger. He might throw an interception. But how will he operate after he throw that interception?
I 100% agree with everything that Josh just said. But then at the end of the day, can he play quarterback in the NFL? That's really it.
Right.
Can he take all those attributes that we want from all the good quarterbacks, but flat out, can he read defenses, deliver the ball where it's supposed to be, move the chains, and score points? If you can't do that, all those things are just.
And it doesn't even have to be, I'm showing I'm a starter. As Josh said, as we talked about, show them you can be their backup. Because I don't even know if he can do that right now. The tailgate continues right after this. Ravens, Steelers.
We turned the ball over going in. It took 7 points off the board, and they had a pick six, and the rest is history, as they say. You got to control the run, the line of scrimmage. The turnover game is always significant in matchups like this, and we failed in both areas. And so when you do that, you should expect to lose.
Now, around the AFC, sponsored by Toyota dealers.
Steelers have lost 2 in a row, and they are now tied with the Ravens in the division. Baltimore 34-17 winners yesterday. What do you guys see with the top of this division right now?
I think Baltimore's still a strong horse. I mean, they had a bad run and lost a few games in the middle, and most of them was in the fourth quarter. But they seem to be picking up steam, and that Big Henry running the football, they're playing solid defense behind it. I don't know if Pittsburgh, without the wide receiver, I can't think of his name right now, without him, they really hurt as far as an offense. They cannot throw the ball down the field without George Pickens.
Right. Mm-hmm. And, when you look at this, these are your usual suspects. You have your Bills up there at the top, and you have teams like the Ravens who have to show postseason what they can do. Lamar has won MVP but hasn't been able to get to the show, and they're a team right now that have to prove in the postseason. They play good and they dominate, and we always know they're going to be there. But can they do something in the postseason where it really counts? Against your Bills, against your Kansas City, and those teams. So those are the contenders in our league.
Browns want to get back to that position, and we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. They have to show Myles Garrett that they can get back to the position. So
what was the plan?
Right. And, he said something that I think a lot of people thought he might mean, but it's rare for a guy to actually come out and say it, that he might leave. But this was Myles.
If that vision didn't align, could you see yourself not being a Cleveland Brown?
I mean, it's a possibility, but I want to be a Cleveland Brown. I want to play here. I want to end my career here. But if we choose to rebuild, and it's 2, 3, 4 years out, I want to be able to compete and play at a high level, play meaningful games, and be playing past January.
How frustrated does a player have to be to say that publicly?
It's saying he's saying the quiet part out loud.
And he's being nice.
And he's being nice because right now he is at the height of his career. And for athletes, for NFL athletes, that's a high point where you reach that climactic area where you're getting all the sacks. He just had a defensive DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year. And from there, it doesn't last long. It does not last long. It's a fleeting talent. He has to win now. He said in his thing, which is interesting, I don't want to play meaningless football. I want to be able to be playing in January. In order to do that and to make his ability play out, he has to be in the playoffs.
I've played on 2 teams in my 9-year career that we were in the situation this team is in, and it's hard to practice. It's hard to prepare. It's hard to be motivated at this time when you've already been there. So Myles wants to get used to playing in the playoffs. There's a whole different taste, a whole different feel in the locker room if you know right now that you got to try to figure out who you're going to play in the playoffs rather than where am I going on vacation. You know, there were seasons we didn't even make reservations because we expected to go further, and then there was those 2 years that, you know, I was already booked the day after the season to go somewhere. So yeah, I get his point.
Cancun on 3.
I'm looking at my clock because I feel like that's what Myles has done to the Browns right now. He put them on a clock.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you going to do for us now? Because my talent is not going to be here in this league forever. He has about, what we said, 4 years of strong football left before he has to take his tour around the NFL.
And you can honestly say he has come to play and has played hard and represented the city, the football team, and the organization as hard as a guy can do it. And he deserves a chance, like any other corporation, because his body is his corporation, to move his company if they don't do what he needs to do to make progress.
Because you see, he didn't really want to say that.
Yeah.
It was like the war. They had to pull that out of him. He wants
but
to
he
say, I
still
want to
let
stay
it
here.
be pulled out.
Yes.
And then why not be mean and tough and bad about it? Why not just say, listen, man, if y'all don't tighten up, I'm getting out of here.
Well, maybe he
and
does
put them,
say that.
like you say, or put them on the clock.
Maybe he
Tighten
said
up.
it. Maybe he said that, but not in. And we got the nice part.
We got the nice part, and maybe he will. That meeting, wherever they have to sell him, they have to have a sales job going. Who's going to have more yards today, by the way? DTR passing or Jamar Chase receiving? That poll is at cleveland19.com/vote. We'll talk about it later on in the show. Reggie's still laughing.
Now the quick picks, sponsored by Kia.
What was your reaction to that report that the Jets owner vetoed the trade because it's too low?
To be honest, I don't believe it. I think that's a fake news for real. Why would somebody look at Matt reading? Be real. I don't think that's real, but you know, it's funny.
I assume you think it all worked out though.
Oh yeah, of course. Man. I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad my man ring was low. Yeah, got me here.
All right, so there was a story that broke that the Jets would have traded for Jerry Jeudy, but their owner, Woody Johnson, said, I don't want him because his Madden rating is too low. Do you believe the Jets are pretty screwed up? But do you believe they're that screwed up?
I think I think that statement was said.
Yep.
I think it don't just come from nowhere. A lot of times these stories have a lot of truth in them. It's just when it gets out, people are like, huh, that couldn't be true. But I think there's some truth to it. I think he could have said it in jest, you know, and just trying to, you know, we won't want him, his Madden ratings too low, you know, or, you know, sometimes that's why he's not the general manager. That's why he's not the guy deciding who comes there. He just hires and fires when they don't get the job done.
And I think I heard part of the story where the owner's sons, he has 2 sons, and they pay attention to the Madden stuff. And they give him a little bit too much insight. But if you take both of those New York teams, one of them was the one's incapable. They brought Aaron Rodgers, and their team is worse than it was last year. The other New York team got rid of Saquon Barkley, and they're with no quarterback. I mean, they got a problem in New York, but that ain't our problem. We got our own here in Cleveland.
Right.
So Judy obviously has been a big hit here in Cleveland. Said he's glad to be here and all that. But do his numbers go down now that Winston is out? There was a connection there. And it's DTR. We've talked about. We don't know where.
Absolutely. In my opinion, I think his numbers take a fall, and it is seen throughout fantasy world when we talk about Madden ratings and all that stuff. But these are analysts, right, who create the fantasy numbers. Yeah. This is a real thing. Money is on the line. They have what he's suspected of getting based off of real analytics when they talk about football. A change of quarterback changes the production for any player. It did for Alvin Kamara when who's the quarterback? When Breeze stopped going, his production plummeted. Yes. And I think the same will happen for because of DTR. DTR will most likely be able to spread the football around a little bit more and not just target, you know, the wide open wide open receivers one at a time. He will spread the football around more.
You know, I wonder, you know, this offense, and I guess it's half of it's the coordinator that came in from Buffalo and half of it's Stefanski. Somewhere in the middle, they put an offense together. But we looked at 4 or 5 different quarterbacks, and it all looks different. Different guys, different receivers are exposed. When I say exposed, they're getting opportunities. The tight end gets more opportunities with this guy. If it's a system, and they're running a defense, then it's supposed to run like a
continuity.
System. Correct. I mean, you should see, I've played where there was 5 different quarterbacks. We may change a thing or two that quarterback may like, but the system still is in place.
The same, and it doesn't look the same. We've got inactives out. Let's pop them up. Winston is on there. He is inactive. He's the 3rd quarterback, but he's got it's a shoulder issue. It sounds like Bailey Zappi, come on down for Zappi Hour. If DTR doesn't make it, it's Zappi Hour time. But I think it's DTR the whole way. But
I can bet you right now.
And Njoku, Emerson, active.
There ain't 2 people in Cleveland that cares about Zappi.
And not just that. We talk.
I bet you that nobody wants to see Zappi.
But
are you
again,
kidding me?
We're in an evaluation stage.
Oh boy.
It's evaluation. If DCR gets in there and throw picks, and then it looks like a debacle. Because look, in basketball, I just went to my son's game. Yeah. And when towards the end, they blowing the team out. Towards the end, you put all the backups in there. Right. And then it started to look sloppy. I'm like, oh man, we can see why it's backups in here because the ball's all lost and it's sloppy, right? If it looks like that with DTR, expect to see Zappi, and then expect for, just like the last few weeks ago, for the emergency quarterback to have to come back in the game and make it look regular again in Winston.
Yes. And his bad shoulder. Just clunking into the game.
He's going to start handing the ball. He doesn't have a bad shoulder. It's just football.
At some point, I want to see Zappi, but I just want to see. We got to go to break here.
Yeah, we should see a better DTR. He had 2 years to watch. It's time to show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's not a rookie anymore. Let's see something. That's Paycor Stadium. Cleveland19.com/vote. DTR starting to separate from Jamar Chase. Stick around.
Do I like it? Of course not. Like I know I'm a starting quarterback in this league. However, what you may say, you have to go out there and produce, and you got to get wins for your team. You got to have elite ball security, and you have to do what's required to be that starting quarterback.
Now, the Big Run Report, sponsored by Dunkin'.
All right, so big run report. We don't have much to talk about with the run game, so we're going to flip it this time. Okay. Is Jameis Winston's run as a starting quarterback for his career over?
I think that it's coaches out there that think they can fix Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, his only problem is picks. That is the only problem. You heard him right there, right, in describing the qualities. Elite ball security. That's the only quality he doesn't check. That's the only box he doesn't check. There's a coach out there that feel like they can check that box for him.
And for me, he's been in the league 10 years now. Some of this should have been self-corrected, not just coaching. So last week, we're down a touchdown or down a field goal, whatever we were, and we're inside the 30, 35-yard line. It's first down, and he throws that ball in the end zone. And I'm saying to myself, you don't do that when you have points on the board, if our kicker makes it, but you are in a position to score points. This is a big-time game. You're playing the Super Bowl champs. You do not throw that in coverage like that.
And you know what happened? You know what should have happened because they got the headsets? Hey, this is the play. X left, Z fly. Hey, don't throw it in the end zone because you got points. Just what you said, that should have been a preface in front of the play. Hey, don't do this. We don't need that. Look for something underneath that the quarterback, that the defense will give you. Those are things that need to happen that didn't.
And I love the way he's played. I love the energy that he's brought, but it's tough to cheer for a guy who takes the sales out of you the minute you get excited for him. Like, you cannot win football games in an NFL for a long period of time and have success in playoffs with a guy like that. To
your question, there's going to be a team that needs a Jameis Winston. Yeah. It may not be in the beginning of the year, but they're going to need a Jameis Winston to lead their team, somebody that's capable. And if his only problem is picks, again, these coordinators have so much ego. Coaches have so much ego when they feel like they see Jameis Winston in his career, he throws picks. That's what he's going to do. It's just who he take him as you have it. But they're going to feel like they can fix him. And they're going to give him the opportunity to lead their team.
I think it was Ryan Fitzpatrick who had the same problem when he was down in Miami, but when he got a chance, he'd light it up one week and then throw picks next week. Right. But he played 12, 15 years. I mean, that's a long time for a guy to play like
Jameis
that. He will get another
400 yards.
He'll get another chance
with a
to
better
be a backup.
defense.
Yeah.
If a defense, I mean, he's throwing out the light. He's throwing out of the stadium.
So you're talking about what thing with Winston
is 600 yards, but 200 for the other guys. So that's no good.
One thing you're talking about with Winston is there a team that would want him? All right, well, Tennessee needs a quarterback. They're pretty bad, but don't call them soft, or Coach Callahan gets a little spicy.
To be honest with you, I think that's complete and total bull. If you want my honest opinion, these guys are tough, man. They go after it every day. I can't even wrap my mind around how that would even be a conversation. I mean, just because we don't win games doesn't mean we're soft. That means you just don't watch the you don't do anything about it, that you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're looking at. So I won't stand for, I'm not going to stand for anybody calling his football team soft. I think that's you can kind of shove that one right up your to be honest. So
all right, if you play for that guy, how does that hit you when you hear about that?
I mean, I would say, yeah, we not soft. It's tough to win in the National Football League. Look at where the Browns are. No one calls the Browns soft. It's always, the coaching, quarterback.
Right.
But they're not going out there and soft because their defense is hitting. The blocking, they're banging out there. So I get it, and that's the words he's supposed to say. That's what's supposed to happen from your head coach when your team, when their dogness, if they have the dog in them or not, is in question. I don't think that is it at all.
I think the fact that they had Vrabel there for so long, and he is a tough-nosed head coach, and the teams that he put on the field were like that, and maybe they had a backward step this year, and that's what people are taking off from that. But Tennessee has normally played some hard-nosed football.
That's a fair point. Yeah, Vrabel was outstanding. He's obviously here now. We are not done. The tailgate continues. Cleveland19.com/vote. We'll get to this poll. Who will have more yards today? DTR through the air, Jamar Chase through the receiving game. Stick around.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Can I get a Browns on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Great job here by Obo and Grant Delpit this week, giving out bikes to kids from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Ohio. They gave out 100 bicycles in all, part of a great partnership with Raising Cane's, and it was just in time for Christmas. That is awesome.
Follow the money. Sponsored by Cardinal Credit Union.
All right, check this out. Reg, I need your expertise here because you actually are on the uniform police that checks guys. 2 different kinds of cleats, and then they deleted it because they had to fine him. So the NFL tweeted out the uniform violation as, look at this, it's cool. Then they fine him, then they delete the tweet.
Are you sure that was my department?
I mean, I know your department handed out the fine.
So there is a month, and there are games that you can have your cleats, your cause, which everyone wears different things written on them for the charity of their choice. That you cannot do. We had an issue with Crowell, who did try to do the same thing. Yeah. It's illegal to do it, and I don't know if my department did it or someone just hit the logo and printed it, but that is absolutely something you cannot do. So that's probably why he was fined.
The NFL is struggling between the entertainment and the professionalism of the game right now. And they want the kids to see it. They want to see how cool that looks. And then on the administrative side, the professionalism of it, oh, you got to be a team player, and this is not good. Delete the post. So they have it there. Now they struggle, the inconsistency of the league right now. Then they took it down.
And there's a big thing with players being treated equally. So if they don't find him and he has on Mitch Mack's shoes, then the next guy wears it. Then you can't find him because you didn't find this guy. So there are rules and legalities behind the whole thing. That is not correct. He did not meet protocol, so he had to be fined no matter whatever happened, because today guys might come out with pink and a green shoe. Yeah. Not cool. Well, you didn't find him, you can't find me.
Right. This is the fit for today. You see it, the all whites. That's a popular throwback look for the Browns. We've been running this poll, cleveland19.com/vote. Who will have more yards today? DTR passing or Jamar Chase receiving? Chase is on a historic run this year, but traditionally the Browns have contained him. I put this poll up and you said, this is rude.
I think it's pretty rude that you've got a receiver and a quarterback who's going to get the ball 40 times to a guy who might get it 8, 9, 10 times. Shame on you, Schwab. Shame on you.
You know what? Look, it's like Vegas. You want action on both sides. It's getting some reaction here.
DTR needs to see stuff like this. This is what they believe. Like, players respond to this, right? If you was to see this, you would be like, enough talk. I got to go out there and prove and show that that would never be a stat again after I play this game. It's like a call to action for him. Now the ball is in his court. DTR, you have until 4 o'clock to respond, because that's when the game will probably be over. So respond now.
By the way, I would take DTR in that. I would not take Jamar Chase.
Well, we're going to see come 1 o'clock.
I'm looking forward to seeing how DTR plays, and after a mistake or after something goes wrong, his body language, like Josh was talking about earlier. This is a great opportunity for him to show not just the Browns, but the other 31 teams in the National Football League that he belongs here. Because he hasn't done anything great, nor has he been horrible. He's like somewhere in the middle, and he's got to do better if he wants to hang around the league for 10 or 12 years.
We don't want, the league right now doesn't want just hanging around and somewhere in the middle. They want to see potentially great.
Give them a reason.
You got to give them a reason.
So he had 3 starts last year. The disaster against Baltimore. Sat for a while, came back. They beat the Steelers, but it was only 13-10. Went out to Denver, got hurt, and that's when Joe Flacco took over. So you never really saw it, but now he's another year. He's got a chance to flash.
I think he'll have great success if he throws one less interception than Jameis Winston.
No.
Okay. All right, so we got about a minute left. What do you guys expect out of Myles today after the comments Friday?
He can bring the heat today. He loves playing against Burrow. I think they just have this thing. He scares Joe Burrow. He will bring the smoke today.
I think it's going to be no less than how it's going to be some good, hard-nosed AFC football from this defense. But again, it's contingent on how our offense play. Offense got to give them something.
Got to give them something.
Give them something so this defense can play hard with a lot of momentum.
If we get in the red zone, I think going forward on 4th and 1 is good, but I like to see points, because points will give that young quarterback a little bit of confidence, and he plays better. All of us play better with confidence.
Joe Burrow's career record against the Browns, I believe, is 2-5. And when asked about that a year or so ago, because the first thing he said, why do you struggle against the Browns? The Browns have had this day. The first thing they said, well, they have Myles Garrett.
That guy over there.
That dude, 95, is Lightning McQueen on defense. Gentlemen, it's been a week. It's been a season. Things continue on. Browns and Bengals.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Go Dogs, baby. Hoop, hoop.
Christmas, Browns and Bengals getting started at 1.